Welcome to a Celona Tech Note video on 5G Standalone. Hello, I'm MJ, Solutions Architect at Celona, and your host for this video, in which we will configure an Apple iPhone 16 Pro and an iPad Pro M4 for 5G Standalone on a Celona Private cellular network. 5G wireless technology has been implemented in one of two ways, as described in our article titled, "What is the 5G Core and Why Does It Matter?" 5G non-standalone is considered the early first stage of 5G implementations. As implied in the name, 5G non-standalone infrastructure does not stand alone, as it depends on a 4G core, making it popular with MNO infrastructure. 5G standalone, or 5G SA, runs on a cloud-native 5G core, with more efficient power use and support for the enterprise requirements, including improved latency, higher bandwidth capacity, and network slicing, which Celona takes further with microslicing. To be clear, Celona's 5G LAN technology supports 5G standalone mode, and not the non-standalone mode. Let's look at the 5G standalone support in some devices for considerations when onboarding your devices onto a Celona 5G local area network. Let's look at our network topology for this lab. On our left, we have our cellular clients, each which will have a Celona SIM installed. For this video, I have an Apple iPhone 16 Pro and an Apple iPad Pro. The lab network has a standard switch, router, and internet access, and has a multi-mode 4G and 5G capable Celona AP20 access point running in 5G mode, and since we are in the US, we are running in the N48 band. For other parts of the world, Celona currently supports 5G bands N77, N78, and N79. And of course, watch this space for additional band support. And since we are talking about 5G, this content also applies to those bands. The Celona Edge Express 1U server runs our 5G core services. Let's look at configuring an Apple iPhone 16 Pro after a Celona SIM has been downloaded and installed. iOS devices need to have the 5G standalone setting enabled to attach to a Celona 5G network. On our iPhone home screen, we can see that we are attached to a 5G network. I can open the web browser and successfully browse web traffic. The 5G standalone setting on the iPhone is located in Settings Cellular. I can see that under Non-Public Networks is our Celona network. Clicking on that, I look for three things. The line is on, my network selection is Cap-C Celona, and voice and data is set for 5G. Click on voice and data, and there's where I can find the 5G standalone setting. Right now, I have the 5G standalone setting on. Let's disable it. Initially, things may seem connected, but the moment I try to start a web connection, nothing. The bars disappear, and we quickly go to SOS. I can airplane mode to initiate another cellular attach, and nothing. Let's enable 5G standalone. As soon as I enable it, you can see the bars fill up and the 5G indicator is on, and I can successfully pass web browser traffic. An important thing to remember is that the 5G standalone setting is not set for a new SIM, and you will not be able to connect until it is set. So, during manual eSIM installation, it will take some time spinning in the eSIM activation flow screen, as Celona cannot connect. Once the eSIM activation screen stops, you can enable 5G standalone as I have described. For this specific SIM, specific IMSI, I only need to do this once on this phone. If I power cycle or airplane mode the phone, I don't need to reset the 5G SA setting. If I delete the eSIM and re-add this exact same eSIM, I don't need to reset the 5G SA setting. But if I install a new Celona SIM, I will have to reconfigure for 5G standalone. For many enterprises, having to perform the 4 clicks to navigate to the 5G standalone setting and then a fifth click to enable it would be okay. For other enterprises, it detracts from the fully automated IT operations ideal. Let's unset the 5G standalone setting and look at another way you can set the Apple iOS 5G standalone setting, this time in automated fashion. The XML profile is a method to perform some supported configurations. For our purposes today, we will use an XML profile for Apple iOS to set the Apple iOS 5G standalone setting. The syntax and description of the XML profile can be found at the Apple developer website at https://developer.apple.com. I would like to call out two parameters of the profile. One parameter is the payload display name. Let's note the name 5G-SA, as we'll see it again in the iOS list in VPN and device management. At some point, you may have multiple profiles for various configuration settings, or you may have one big profile with multiple configuration settings. This is the string that will be shown in iOS to easily identify the XML profile on the device. The second and key parameter for this video is enable NR standalone. This is the parameter that, when set to true, will enable the 5G standalone setting for an existing SIM on the device or for a SIM to be installed in the future. Let's install this Apple iOS XML profile onto my Apple iPhone 16 Pro. You can install this XML profile via your MDM of choice, but today we will install simply over AirDrop. From my laptop, I will simply drag the XML profile on the Apple iPhone. On the device, we will go to Settings, General, and scroll down to and click on VPN and Device Management. You can see our named configuration profile. Click on it and install the profile. Immediately, we can see that the device gets bars and the 5G indicator. Note that when using an iOS XML profile to control 5G standalone, iOS will show the setting as enabled, but grayed out. The web browser can pass traffic. The process is exactly the same for the iPad. Here, we can see that the device can pass web traffic. For the 5G configuration, the only difference in the iPad is that the 5G standalone setting is in the general cellular context, instead of the context of a SIM and network. But as with the Apple iPhone, 5G SA can also be set manually or via an XML profile. Again, a sign that the profile is being used is the grayed out 5G standalone setting. In this video, we looked at 5G standalone configurations for an Apple iPhone 16 Pro and a cellular iPad Pro. For Apple iOS, we configured the 5G standalone setting via two methods. First, manually, and second, over an XML profile which can be pushed via a mobile device management system. For knowledgeable users, it is an easy few clicks to enable the 5G standalone on an Apple iOS device. For IT shops that require more hands-free onboarding for their users, the XML configuration file for Apple iOS can now automate the required 5G standalone setting. Thank you for watching our video, and look for more content from Celona to help you get the most out of your Celona Private cellular network.